Dire team ban.
Alrighty, we are back. Let's see, there we go. Game number 2 of UC Irvine versus UC Santa Cruz. Game 1 going the way of Hakuna Marana of UC Santa Cruz, the Banana Slugs. I am joined yet again by Gorgon the Wonder Cow.
Reserve time.
How you feeling after game number 1?
Well, I'm feeling like really UCSC comes in with a lot of the skills that are most highly valued here in the CSL. Very good teamwork, very good appraisal of value and situation, and good optimization of power spikes. And more so than individual skill, those are the things that most often make the difference between two teams.
Yeah, it was... I didn't really feel like UCI was ever out of it or...
10 seconds
outclassed, really. It was just Hakuna Marana got a lead. They held that lead,
5 seconds
and they grew that lead. So it'll game number 2. If UCI gets off to a great start, I'm imagining this game will have a much different feel to it. We'll actually have Disruptor ban. I find that kind of funny. Yeah. He played very well.
He is probably my MVP, maybe with the act. A lot of what the Disruptor did, we didn't focus on, but really swung most of those fights one way. And especially if you are thinking about running a Temper Saw or anything like that, again, you cannot be giving this player this. It's just not can justify.
10 seconds.
I'm actually going to go with the first pick Sand King here. Definitely a strong hero, and as you mentioned, it just dissuades a bunch of different heroes, like with the Disruptor. But I think we saw the Sand King against the Timber Saw earlier this year, and the Sand King was just... was that UC Davis, I believe, where the Sand King was like 6-0, and the Timber Saw was 0-6?
Radiant team's turn to pick.
It may have been.
Vaguely remember that. It was just...
We cast a lot of games, and they all kind of bleed together at a certain point for me. Especially since, over the last week I was doing a lot of casting for the for the Boston Major as well. So everything's a little murky.
I feel like it was UCI that played it too.
Remaining.
I'm pretty... Well, I'll have to look back at the VODs, which are available up on the C Star League YouTube channel, but
reserve time.
I'm pretty sure UCI plays a pretty nasty Sand King. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. And it was an early ban as well. I think UCI may ban it. But either way, Ogre Magi are going to be the pickup here. That's a lot of harass into a potential Sand King offlaner. We'll see how UCSC decide to roll with that Ogre Magi. If they do try to optimize the Bloodlust with right clickers like your PA, or if they go a similar route to what UCI did last time and just try to basically use that Bloodlust on a single hero and otherwise use him as a stun machine and harasser.
Rubik coming out here. I love Rubik into Sand King. And I'm excited to see Hakuna Marana use and utilize the Rubik. I believe they pick this often. And into the Luna, this Rubik is having a field day.
Yeah, not only that, but people, I think, undervalue what that magic resistance does. At 22% at probably about 25 minutes or so. Maybe a little bit earlier if the Rubik has a good game. That is difficult to deal with if a large portion of your damage is Epicenter and Lucent Beam and Eclipse, right? Like, Luna's already a hero whose damage tends to fall off a little bit in the late game. She relies more and bouncing of
Dire
Glaive and
team's
less
turn
on
to
her
ban.
base damage, especially since the Lunar Blessing is a raw damage amount and not a percentile ability. And she really uses the Eclipse to make up for that, especially if there aren't a lot of units around in order to bounce those.
10
And the
seconds
Null Field
remaining.
helps to mitigate a lot of that, right? Caustic Finale is
5
magical,
seconds remaining.
the Burrow Strike is magical, and of course,
You're using up your
I'm
reserve
definitely
time.
excited to see it. And for whatever reason, as the year started, we had teams constantly picking
Radiant team's turn to
two
pick.
supports first phase every time. Just that was the quote unquote safe thing to do. As time's gone on, we've kind of moved away from that, and it's been mostly a core and a support. But I am loving the support duo coming out from Hakuna Marana. It feels very flexible. It does everything they need it to do.
10 seconds remaining.
I think that Null Field is going to be unspoken MVP of this
5
game.
seconds
Just
remaining.
based on these two picks alone, the Sand King and the Luna. If Rubik has his positioning well
Reserve
and
time.
does manage to get some quality spells stolen, I think Hakuna Marana is in a pretty good spot support-wise.
yeah, but also think about the impact that a Fade Bolt does to a Luna, right? A
Mhm.
35%, or excuse me, a 35 damage reduction onto a Luna through the mid game is a lot, because her base damage, especially if she's not maxing Lunar Blessing, is not that tremendous. And once again,
10
where a lot of
seconds
her damage
remaining.
comes from is the bouncing. If she's getting a 35 reduction, and that
5 seconds remaining.
raw damage that she does end up having then gets reduced by another 35% each time the glaive bounces,
Reserve
you
time.
are really reducing her presence in team fights with this Rubik. Just indirectly, not even
team's turn to
talking
pick.
about the stun that he gives and the difficulty that she may have stopping Eclipse from actually being stolen because of her lack of ability.
That being said, Oracle does solve the Rubik dilemma, so to say.
10
Purge is
seconds
just
remaining.
such an invaluable ability and very uncommon in Dota.
5 seconds
Outside
remaining.
of Diffusal, which is instant purge, but that is not really an item you want to be picking up on just anyone. So
Reserve time.
I definitely like the Oracle here. False Promise, Fortune's End. There's a lot you could do with the Oracle to help against just the three that's been shown so far.
Yeah, the Oracle, as you mentioned, will have that purge. In terms of picking up the Slardar, not only will that provide you some vision for catching the Sand King and Sandstorm, making him slightly less slippery through the mid game, but also it implies that we are going to have a right-click based carry here come out, and maybe a right-click based mid as well, which all Slardar, along with one other cohort, will work very well with the Bloodlust. I do like UCSC's. I like their support duo. Lots of stun, a lot of just overall protection as well. But then their cores seem to be pairing into the Ogre, at least so far.
I'm kind of excited to see, I guess, just explore the depth of the hero pool that we
10
haven't really
seconds
gotten so far.
remaining.
We saw Sven earlier today. I was super excited about that. But with the Jug and the Lifestealer
5
banned out
seconds
by
remaining.
UCI, oh, well, there is your... You got it.
Dire
You
team's
got it,
turn to
Gorgon.
pick.
There's your
But
right
I mean,
click.
it's very, very popular with the Ogre Magi, right? The first thing I said when we saw it was, I wonder if they're going to go for something. I think the Phantom Assassin maybe would have been my ban if I'm UCI, but if they're
10 seconds
particularly
remaining.
worried about the Lifestealer of the Juggernaut, then that's what they're worried about, right?
5 seconds left. Don't freeze
Be it
up.
far from me to tell them what to worry about.
Yeah,
But the Juggernaut certainly gives them a lot more push.
Reserve time.
The Juggernaut is a very serious concern here, because that allows you to turn the Ogre Magi into an actual pushing hero, with the Juggernaut giving himself sustain and the Bloodlust going on him as well. But I don't know. The Lifestealer doesn't seem as big of an issue if you are running UCI as the Phantom Assassin. But maybe I am wrong.
Ooh, Elder Tank coming
Radiant
out
team's
for
turn to
UCI.
ban.
That's an interesting pick. We don't see
Yeah.
that a lot, especially not without the Shadow Demon anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So now the question is this a mid lane Phantom Assassin, which we're seeing a little bit less since the nerf
10
to
seconds
Stifling Dagger,
remaining.
or is this a farming carry Phantom Assassin?
I
5 seconds
believe
remaining.
Santa Cruz has played it as a mid. I think that's...
I would expect it to be a mid.
Yeah.
Reserve time.
The last time they played it, it was a...
Dire team's turn to ban.
Hold on. that was UCI. UCI has played it as a mid.
I would expect it
I
as
would
a mid.
expect it as a mid as well. It would
I
have
would
a
expect
much
something
rougher
like-
time against the Sand King or the Luna.
Yeah. I would expect something like
10
an
seconds
anti-major
remaining.
Slark, maybe, to come out here as your farming carry instead.
5 seconds
Um,
remaining.
That's going to give you some more of this combat, some
Reserve
more
time.
of this fight that you want. The anti-mage would give you a lot of action against the Luna. Luna, for all of her pitfalls, and I mentioned that her innate damage doesn't scale super well, but she scales really well with items. And with glaives, if she is left unchecked, she is really good at dealing with supers against her. She's really good at sieging.
Dire teams tend
She's
to
just
pick.
a little bit of a weak laner, and moreover, she does need items to scale, so if she gets off to a rocky start, she often has trouble catching up. She doesn't deal tremendously well with heavy pressure either at really any
10
stage of the game.
seconds
It's one of the
left.
reasons why
Decided?
PA is such good.
5 seconds remaining.
Um,
All in all, this draft so far, Hakuna Marana's draft is pretty straightforward,
Reserve
pretty
time.
standard. If UCI could pull this draft off to the potential I think they can, I'm kind of favoring their draft thus far. I really like the Sand King and the Elder Titan when paired together. I think that's going to be such enormous team fight.
Tinker.
Oh, and Tinker on top of it. I'm
Radiant
siding
it's
with UCI. on
really
this one.
good for the
Yes.
against the Phantom. You may even want to consider switching that Phantom Assassin. She will maybe be able to last it with Stifling Dagger, but like that's right. In the mid lane, she'll have a tremendous amount of
10
difficulty.
seconds
She'll need a lot
remaining.
more support, which means that the off lane and safe lane would have more trouble, especially
5
dealing with that
seconds
Sand
remaining.
King. Sniper's going to be the pickup here. I don't know if that's better. So yeah, Sniper's probably going to be your mid,
Yeah.
but that's
It-
probably not a lot
like
better.
someone
to
just-
do.
If you were trying to avoid the dilemma of Phantom Assassin being blind, I'm not sure Sniper is your pick.
The one nice thing about the Sniper is that after a couple of levels, the Tinker has to get out of position in order to blind you. And that can give you some openings to kill him if
Prepare
you have
for
rotations
battle.
from the Rubik and the Ogre Magi. The threat of those rotations might be enough to keep that. But neither of those heroes is likely to shut down Tinker unless Tinker's overly aggressive and gets.
Alrighty, well, they are already going. No pause this time, and it's caught me off guard. On the side of UC Santa Cruz, it's a trap. On the Slardar, Phantom Assassin would be played by Proud going to the safe lane. In the mid lane, KJJ. On the Sniper, Ogre Magi is being played by Spackle. And finally rounding out UC Santa Cruz's lineup is Force of Nurture.
All right, and here for UCI, Saint Anne Dance is reusing and recycling the Tinker Miracle, is taking that Luna out for a spin. Trash is calling the Sandstorm on Sand
30
King.
seconds
Carry
to go.
JS will be prognosticating on the Oracle, and Bai is stomping around on the Elder Titan.
He teleported to the bot lane right off the bat, getting down this ward, and this is like the standard CSL ward that I think we've seen in about 80% of the games. It's so good.
Are they going to aggressive tri-lane this Luna? Why is she all the way down here on her own? Now she's switching back to the top
Let's
lane. I'm
get
not sure what this
moving.
Luna's movements are for. To be quite
Smart
honest.
money.
But looks like she will end up in this lane. Presumably the Elder Titan's going to be doing a little bit of rotating through the early levels, which does mean that Luna is potentially pressurable. But you do need to get some supports up there in order to pressure her. Probably the Slardar not going to be able to do it on his own. I'm very interested to see how this mid lane works, because it is not a very favorable lane for the Sniper. But once again, with the pressure of the potential support rotations, you might be able to keep that Sniper in check. Maybe even kill him if you can lull him into a false end.
Well, this lane for UC Irvine, this bottom lane, is going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
Stunned up. Went Caustic Finale level 1. Rubik's actually doing a lot of damage. He may actually pop here. He probably will, actually, with the last auto attack coming out from the Elder Titan. Sand King's actually going to get out with his life as well, and now
No,
Ogre's
Sand
in
King
some
could die
trouble.
here.
Stomp comes out. Sand King a bit too low in my mind to continue with this. Ignite
Oh.
onto the Elder Titan. Phantom Assassin's just eating too much damage and Elder Titan. It is his turn to be too deep, and a 1-for-1 trade at the very beginning. Sand King's still very low.
He's got no escape until one more creep
Yeah,
dies near him, and he's going to get out of experience range before that creep dies, so he's going to die. The only way he could have lived there is if he stayed near that creep wave.
Should find him before he gets out, and indeed they
Yes.
will. 2 for 1 at the end of the day.
That's a very tough situation if you are that Sand King. If you stay near the creep wave, you probably level up and get the Pro Strike, or honestly, in that position, you might even want to screw up your leveling for the Sandstorm, because it could potentially save your life. But, you know, if you run away, there's 0 chance of you getting your life. And he has to walk all the way back, too. He's missing a lot of experience. He's going to miss
may
2
actually
or
be
3
in
whole
trouble
waves.
here. Indeed, he will fall. Channel on the Fortune's End will hold him there just long enough.
Yeah, but look at how much damage he's done to these 2 heroes on his own. Once this bottom lane starts to become easier because the Sand King is underleveled for the PA, and she's able to just kind of deal with him on her own, and those supports rotate top, this Slardar is going to have a field day. With any stun to set him up, he would be able to kill either one. Because he's going to try to do it on his own. No stuns. Oh, he doesn't have stun leveled.
Slardar is more or less having his way up here. He's keeping relevant in CS, and it's more than you could say for the Sand King and Elder Titan down in the bot lane. So
Sand King isn't even keeping relevant in levels.
yeah.
But they are forcing a defensive tri-lane, which is not what you would expect a PA to need, right? PA with the Stifling Dagger is usually a little bit more able to handle harass and get her last hits than a Luna, who really is very pressurable, as we're seeing right now.
The root will hold him in place, but Luna prances out at her blazing fast move speed. This mid lane has become quite difficult for the sniper. Tinker now with the bottle.
This is a lane, this top lane, excuse me, is a lane where casual level and bash would be very valuable because he's trading a lot of hits. And he can manipulate the pseudo-random distribution of that odds mechanic in order to pretty much guarantee a bash after a Slithering Crush. And if he got a bash on this Luna for any of these attacks, he'd be very close to getting a kill, may have even gotten a kill. And he will get his bash right now, so hopefully he's going to manipulate that cash well enough in order to get a kill here. We'll see how he does with it.
Supports, meanwhile, were moving on the mid lane. They actually break smoke the last second on the tower and get nothing but wasted time out of it. Just not really the start, I guess, you're looking for if you're UC Santa Cruz. Picking up those 2 kills bot lane was great, but after that it's just been... it feels like a bit more wasted time.
Yeah, well, they are pressuring the top lane really effectively. They're keeping this bottom lane less relevant as well. Their PA is keeping up in terms of last hits. The sniper is keeping up with the Tinker as well. Honestly, I think these lanes are actually going pretty well for them. They traded in a couple kills, but they got a couple kills. The PA's net worth is now on top of the charts. Like, even though she did die, I think they're pretty happy with where they are, as long as they keep up with the Luna and they're able to get actionable before the Luna is knocking down tier 2s. And maybe they need to come out here and get a kill on this. He gets with the travel. But other than that, oh, Tinker, wow. Sniper uses a salve for 1/2 of a second and actually saves his life potentially.
Meanwhile on the bot lane, Venom Assassin is actually getting a lot of damage, getting body blocked up by the Ogre. The stun will actually slow the Elder Titan. Picking up the kill. Caustic Finale was applied. Fastened down. That's 2 deaths for pretty early.
Yeah.
Or 1 death, rather.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Sand King
Yeah, I had thought that she died earlier. Yeah, and he doesn't have an escape here. He does have a wand mana, but he doesn't go strike up yet. He's going to try to use Caustic Finale, and he will be able to get a kill here.
Yeah, Elder Titan, or Ogre Magi rather, will fall. Sand King, will he get the deny? It's gonna be... yeah, he will. Close one. That camp does barely any damage. Slardar also in a world of trouble. He's just dead as well.
Okay, now things are really going. Yes, I'm on board now. It had been going okay, but the Luna is taking off in terms of last hits. The PA went down. They didn't get the return kill on the Sand King, who has now caught it back up in levels. Yeah, things had been seeming to go okay, but
And Ogre has to spend the salve on the sniper, who's gets about half of it. This Tinker is just a nightmare. I can't imagine the sniper player was begging for this pick after the Tinker.
Yeah, it's not an easy lane, but he has been keeping up perfectly fine. He's only not even 100 net worth behind. Like, he's doing absolutely fine.
Rubik just gets eviscerated by the Sand King, and with the Stomp as well, I imagine Phantom Assassin will follow the same route. No blink target just yet. Burrow Strike, she's dead. That's her second death.
The Ogre Magi really can't be working. He's coming to the mid lane, but there's no realistic situation where he gets a kill on the Tinker. There's probably no realistic situation that rotating up this late, he gets a kill on the Luna either. Especially since he hasn't been seen here. Yeah. They're going to try for it anyway. The Luna not really showing a lot of care. Slow going out, but yeah, she'll get back to the safety of her tower. Eldergen
is moving up towards the mid lane. They have a ward. They might spot his movement before he comes out. He's seen now. Rubik's still out there. That's a stomp. As soon as Tinker's in position, I imagine this is dead Rubik. Indeed it is. Top lane, actually, Luna dies with the Phantom Assassin rotating up. Oracle's in a world of hurt as well. No ultimate available for him, but TP support will dissuade the chase, and they're running. They're running fast and far. Sand King not able to get in range. Nothing doing. This bot lane, now very habitable.
Yeah, well, the PA rotating up was a really good call. Coming out of UCSC, got them into a much better position in order to get something for the Phantom Assassin. Unfortunately, rotating up here means that she does not have a TP to get bottom lane. If she gets a kill here, though... Oh, not able to
raindrops
that haste
are
room.
A good item. Now she's in a very odd position between the Tinker,
She should be fine.
multiple in pursuit.
She might even be able to get this kill. She can get within blink range. Nope, never mind.
Stomp's gonna miss here. At the end of the day, it's
just more time she's not farming.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem. Top 3 net worth now on UCI.
Middle tower isn't going to last long.
Slardar, despite the damage he was doing early, is now at the mercy of this Luna. She is having her way with him up there.
Yeah. There is not a lot going for UCI at this stage. The Luna should be able to start knocking down towers pretty soon, and they don't really have the defensive posture. PA has difficulty fighting a lot at this stage in the game if she has not gotten good farm, and she certainly has not. So I'm really not sure. If you're UCSC, things were looking okay, at least in my estimation. You seem to have this called out pretty well, but now they have a lot of heroes that need a lot more farm, which means that they're not really in a position to shut down their opponents during a very important stage of the game. Probably UCSC try to bounce back in this game by getting a couple kills on anything that's vulnerable and opening up space for the PA. But their other cores don't really scale at this stage of the game either, right? There's no Blink Dagger on the Slardar. There's no anything on the Sniper. So where does the damage come from? Where does the initiation come from?
Tinker in some trouble here, though. Stunned up by the Slardar. The stun will follow, and he's just dead. So a good kill. Rotation's coming in. It's pretty much exactly what they needed.
Yeah. That's very important.
Burrow Strike into the backline. Earth Splitter comes out as well. That'll catch on the Sniper. Stomp will whiff, but I think that's the end of the line for UCI. They're going to have to back up here. Slardar is going into the back line onto the Oracle. Sand King just dies in the meantime. Assassinate not even needed. Slardar will pick that one up. And now Elder Titan's in some trouble. Oh, the Stomp will not get off straight to a great raise from the Rubik. Sand King, though, looks like he's going to pick up this kill on the Sniper. Wait. Stopped attacking him. He's actually going to get out A-OK. Oh, lasers, rockets rather. Now we'll pick up the Sniper.
He had a Fairy Fire. He could have lived there, I'm pretty sure. A little bit of a misplay from the Sniper, but not the end of the world. They can be very, very happy with the trades they made there. That, honestly, there was no reason for UCI to take that fight. Also, no reason for the Sand King to buy back. UCSC just got a huge, huge boost in the right direction. Now should be able to do more to defend against the Luna, be able to harass and move into her into her territory a little bit. The PA in a much better position to have some sustain while farming with the Ring of Health out now. And I think UCSC probably just tried to ride this level of activity using the Slardar and the PA, rotating around and getting kills. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Look up top. PA's rotating up there along with the Slardar and the Ogre Magi. And they just want to kill this Luna.
I think she is too fast, and it looks like, yeah, she's out of there. A good ward, actually. Spots the aggression before it happens, so... That's actually just going to be damage on this bot lane tower. Actually, the tower's just going to fall.
Their structures.
Yeah, that tower was taking a bit of a beating. Boy, what is this Rubik doing here?
He goes for the deny in a last-ditch futile effort. Does not get it.
Yeah,
Nope,
that
actually,
Rubik being there was a mistake.
Aggression onto the Oracle. He gets out. I think he's...
But now
Oh, he
Luna's on.
barely survives.
Dire's top
Had a
tower is
sliver
under
of health.
attack.
Oh. Now Eclipse is dropped as well. Ogre's dead. Sniper dies in the mid lane as well. Oh, this is
Cracks in Dire's top
disastrous sequence of events here for UC Santa
This
Cruz.
little tower shouldn't have to take this abuse.
Meanwhile, the Phantom Assassin, not quite sure if this is just a casual Ring of Health, if this is going for Battle Fury. I'd really like to see the Desolator picked up on her in like a very quick fashion. In conjunction with the Slardar's amp damage, that's just going to be absolutely devastating. So, I'd like for her to pick up at least the Blightstone pretty soon.
Yeah, the Blightstone's pretty expensive.
Radiant's top tower deserves just
It's not
as
very
much help as
expensive. It
Rock.
provides
Radiant structures are
a
fortified.
pretty decent amount of control in these fights, especially with the Sniper doing damage as well.
Radiant's top tower has
Um,
better.
Luna is able to knock down this top tower. I think UCSC engaged a little sloppily on some of these. They probably could have made a play on the Luna there with creeps around instead of moving around where the Eclipse is going to. But
Is Battle Fury still the build on Phantom Assassin? I was under the impression that Desolator had kind of trumped it.
I think they're going to go for Battle Fury build here, but I think Desolator's.
Okay.
I don't necessarily know that I hate that decision, especially since the early game went, oh dear.
Earth Splitter on the mid lane just misses the Sniper. A good sidestep from him, and now it's their turn to turn it around. Oh, stunned up by the Slardar. Great damage. And that'll do it for this fight, I would imagine. Oh, the Rockets again. Oh, Rubik lives with a sliver. Less than 10 health on impact.
Okay, so this is actually a Vanguard in the battle, into Desolator.
Dire's
got it.
bottom tower
Alright.
needs some help.
Makes sense.
That makes a
right?
bit more
There's,
sense to me.
There's a decent amount of right click coming out of the Elder Titan. There's a lot of bouncing coming. Damage block is really good for that. And then the Vanguard on top of the Blur is going to really make it very difficult for UCI to deal with the Phantom Assassin unless they physically send him
Dire's
through.
bottom tower
She's going to
is
be able to
being
tank
chipped
creeps all.
away.
And that, in and of itself, is going to make her
Dire's
valuable
no
for a
fortified
way that she
structures.
otherwise wouldn't be.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
It's
I
not
don't
picked up often.
personally love the Vanguard
Yeah.
and its popularity right now, but it is going to eventually build into Blade, so it makes sense to build it early.
Dire's bottom
In my
tower
mind,
is
this
being
isn't
chipped
really
away.
even the ideal Vanguard game, but as you were mentioning, it'll keep her alive longer. Longer being not really at all. Actually, with the Burrow Strike coming out, makes the right decision. I thought they had plenty of damage there. She gets out alive. A good decision from the Phantom Assassin.
And that's in the epicenter down too, so they can just march down another lane.
Rubik with the stolen Burrow Strike will help pitch in for this Elder Titan kill.
UCSC are turning it around. They got themselves into some pretty risky situations early on. Well, honestly, it just feels like they have better team. As a squad, they seem more comfortable with each other's playstyles and positioning than UCI. And UCI are not exactly dropping the ball in a lot of cases, but a little bit of an edge in communication makes a big difference.
All in all, the Luna is sitting quite pretty on top of her heap of net worth. It's 8,000. She's currently more than 50 last hits above the Phantom Assassin. She just had her way pretty much this entire game.
Keep in mind her role here, though, right? Like, she is the only right clicker on her entire team. So even though she has a lot of net worth, she is a very easy target for UCSC to agree to attack. It's not like if UCI want to take out a damage dealer, they can either shoot for the Slardar or the PA or the Sniper, but they can't shoot for all of them. So even if one of them was really far ahead in terms of, there's still a lot of damage going around when that person dies. In the case with the Luna, the only other real big damage dealer here is the Tinker. So Luna is going to be a big target in these fights, and having a lot of net worth, if it's not going into survivability, isn't necessarily going to help her impacts in team fights. But she did go for help the Dominator.
In the same vein, though, this net worth lead, I think, is indicative of how they're going to continue to play this game.
Yeah.
And I think this lead is only going to get exacerbated by, just as you mentioned, the Helm of the Dominator to help with Ancients. Her farm's going to get pretty out of control pretty quickly.
Yeah, the question is, can they blow her up in fights? Right. That's what it ends up coming down to. And that's a huge stack they just got across. This is going to be defended without a doubt.
Tinker on the way. The whole team. Spirit comes out. Yeah, Sand King is having none of this. Ogre stunned up. Oh, the Earth Splitter actually will land on the Ogre. Will it take him down? No, it will not. Slardar's eating quite a bit of damage as well. Will finally get finished off by the Eclipse damage there. And, well, there you go. Luna just dies, as you mentioned. Right. Yeah. Slardar gets the stun on the Sand King, not in time. Sand King actually will go down here in the end. End of the day, it's a 2 for 3. Stack defended, question mark?
Maybe. Nobody on UCSC can take that stack, is the irony. PA is going to try, but...
That's some optimism right there.
Yeah.
Creeps are going to avoid her completely. That'll do it.
He's actually going to get a little bit of a heal from that Oracle. Sniper wants to go in and find himself a kill.
This is some optimism right here. I don't know. Oh, they just placed the sentry as well. If he tries to go out like he came in, he's... Oh, no, they see it. It's getting dewarded. He's well aware, so... Oi.
He's going to walk all the way around the back line for safety.
He has no TP either. This is the long road to the side shop.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's going to run through it.
So that fight was very indicative of the problem UCI are going to have this, which is that the Luna is such a large part of their team. Literally, when she dies, they lose about a third of their net worth as a team, right? If she dies, they lose well more than a fifth of their action. They don't have any singular target that is anywhere near that equivalent on their opponent's team, so it's much more difficult for them to make those sorts of decisions. But that means that the Oracle really needs to be tied to her at the hip to keep her alive in these fights.
This is a sizable chunk of change going into Luna's pocket.
Yeah.
With the Oracle at her side, I imagine that the results of the last fight will go a bit differently. As you correctly predicted, she just got blown up. She went in, eclipsed. She was one of the only ones out there because the rest of her team is absolutely not in fighting shape. And then just died.
Even if the rest of her team was in fighting shape, they would not be targeted, right? She would still take the same amount of damage because she would be targeted. They don't have a lot of stuns. Maybe a Burrow Strike would have saved her a little bit longer, and they would have gotten the Sniper as well for a 3 for 3 trade. But that's the most optimistic I'm willing to be on that fight, right? Yeah, it's just there's never going to be a situation where there's a higher priority target, except maybe if the Tinker has like a Scythe of Ice and is really, really becoming.
Even then, he's currently 3.5 thousand gold behind the Luna.
Right.
That's going to take a while.
And also bear in mind, with a Luna this far ahead and UCI sitting about 2,000 net worth, UCSC can take a kill on anybody. It doesn't have to be the Luna, and that net worth is going to be used against her team because it's the team net worth that factors into AoE gold, right? So this is a point that I bring up a lot. But when you have one hero that far ahead, it really hurts the entire team unless that hero is absolutely demolishing the opposition, and that's not usually the case with the Luna.
UC Irvine actually has an idea of where the Slardar is. He'll run out right over the ward that spotted him, but nothing doing there. Tinker is finally getting his groove on, doing what he can. However, in the bot lane, he's actually going to pick off the Sand King. Oh, Yules will be popped. Oh, and he blinks out.
And he's going to try to TP away, and he will make. Very nice play by that Sand King.
Courier gets out as well. Well played by him. I don't think Sniper was expecting to use at all. He just kind of gave up after firing the shot.
Yeah. This is going to be a Desolator very soon on the PA. It may even come out on the Luna. Manta's going to be a big step in the right direction because there's pretty much only single target damage, and it will also help deal with the amplify damage coming out. So Manta is a very necessary item before really UCI are in a position to take big team fights. But with this Desolator about to come out, heroes are just going to explode. Like, there's going to be a big surge in net worth on the UCSC starting right about now.
Slardar engages. False Promise does come out, and there is the eclipse that they were waiting for. PA is just dead. Slardar trying to get out while he can, and it looks like he'll be alright for a little bit. No. Yule's up. Gets the crush, actually. No, he just dies. That should be the end of this fight for U6 Santa Cruz. If they know what's good for him, they'll just back up. Tower does end up falling.
Not able to contribute to that fight, and if he were, that fight would have got him. And I'm not entirely sure why the dive when the tier 1 tower was the end goal there. But
and again, we see a hero. Well, it looks like Rubik will get out of this one, but Hero's just waiting right here on this line, and not really for any reason. This tower's just gonna fall. Bot lane Ogre is trying to scrap up whatever farm he can. He does need a bit more farm here. Getting closer to the mech. Currently sitting on the headdress. Nope, full mech is completed. That should be a pretty good pickup for them.
That fight actually going the wrong way there for the fact that they decided to take that fight just moments before the Desolator was going to be purchased on the PA. That was a terrible, terrible decision, right? If they had just waited for her to get that Desolator within 40 seconds of where they were, they probably don't lose that fight. They probably blow up several. So the Luna then doesn't get a surge onto the Manta style, so that when they do go and take the fight, they're actually in a position to win a couple of fights in a row. Now that the Luna has the Manta style, the shoe is on the other foot. UCI was taken from a position where they were not going to get this item fast enough to they no longer have anything about as long as they just execute carefully.
Slardar takes the bait in the bot lane. It looks like he'll be okay, but with two heroes sitting behind the Sand King, actually this may turn in the complete opposite direction. Slardar spots him out. Won't get the amp damage for vision. Stomp will actually slow him down. But this is where the fight could turn disastrous. Tinker has arrived and he is ready to fight. Sand King in the backline actually picks up the kill on the Ogre Magi. Slardar is wailing away on the Elder Titan. We'll get the stomp off at the end. Actually sleeps up the Phantom Assassin. Oh, just barely will the Sand King live, and he wants this kill. Oh, he's gonna miss. He just gets bonked once he's dead. Eclipse will pick up the sniper. PA running for her life. Slardar's actually dying in the backline as well. Looks like he will be the last priority for UCI. You know, he's gonna wait it out. A March of the Machines is not gonna make his day any better. No vision just yet. There it is. That should do it indeed. March of the Machines picks up that kill.
Yeah, this is just, there's honestly not a lot that UCSC can do now that that Manta is out. They don't really have the items to. The Desolator is up on the PA. If they can find a couple of pickoffs, that would be great. But because UCI realized that, they're grouping up entirely. I think that's the right call. Probably the way that you punish this if you're SC is you just try to defend high ground, you give up some towers if you need to, and you split and try to get as much experience gain as you can right now to mitigate that lead, right? Because UCI grouped up are probably going to win every fight right now, but they are going to have to group up to remain safe. And so the only real way for you to punish that grouping is by getting around the map and farming as much as you can individually.
This Luna is still just immensely farther ahead in net worth than anybody else in the game.
That one fight honestly swung such a big way.
Yeah, it's
once again, I cannot express how much of a difference it makes for the Luna to be able to have the Manta style before the PA has the Destiny. Without the Manta style, that Luna dies. We saw how quickly she dies. Now imagine if you also had the negative armor from the Desolator. She would just melt. But you can't necessarily just blink in and pick the target when she has the Manta, especially when you can't keep an amplified damage on. That one fight, very well, we might be looking back in 8 or 9 minutes and say that that one fight decided the game in UCI's favor.
Dire's structures are fortified.
It's just this Luna is still sitting on such a huge chunk of cash. This could be a full Eagle song picked up here if she wanted to. And
Tower is gone. Just a cold fog left behind.
what's Santa Cruz gonna do about it at this point? The Oracle has been a bit more conservative with his positioning. I think he should be in a good enough position to get his ultimate off. And I don't know if this Luna's just exploiting this net worth lead very tremendously.
Yeah, the Santa Cruz have been doing a pretty good job of getting around the map and getting some farm while this is happening, at least trying to make trades. They got a tier 1 tower, right? They're doing what they can in order to minimize their deficit. And if they can get a pick off on this Tinker, that would be a big step in the right direction. Wow, this PA might just die. Okay,
she ate a lot of damage there. Luna's just gonna whack on this tower. And huge amount of damage.
UCSC are making the right call by just giving up towers, so. Like, it's really hard to do that, but they're not in a position to defend outer tier towers. Definitely making the right call, just giving them up, waiting out the Aegis, trying to get their net worth up. You know, one more big item on PA might get her in the Luna. One more big item on the starter might give him the survivability to stand in the glaives. The Rubik needs to get a couple more levels for the null field to actually bit ramped up, because that Eclipse has been doing too much damage, the Epicenter has been doing too much damage. So there are some solutions here if they can buy the time. The question is, will UCI give them that time?
I'm just excited because Rubik picked up Eclipse here. I really want to use it. Oh yeah, that right? If you're a Rubik player and you take Eclipse, are you not just dying and yelling at your team to run head first?
Right? No, he very well might not have an opportunity.
Yeah, you can't really run head first into this team. The Elder Titan would just punish that way too hard. Sand King is Sand King, and Luna just hitting you on the whole way in. As you were mentioning with the null field, it really needs more points in that for it to be, I guess, noticeable.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how
honestly,
long he's
this is a game where I probably prioritize null field over telekinesis. The extra 0.5 seconds of stun per level is just not more valuable than mitigating the damage of that.
Luna just
Eclipse?
Yeah.
Okay, now's the time that you engage, if you can get people there.
I'm not sure who was pinging her.
On the other side of the map without a TP, so that's fine.
I'm not sure who pinged it out, but if that was Santa Cruz noticing that, this is go time. Luna's playing like she still has it.
Well, she does have an Aegis, right? And she's trying to use it, so.
With Tinker arriving, this tower is in a bit of peril. Ward goes down, but instantly dewarded. Good preemptive sentry coming out from UC Santa Cruz here.
So this is exactly what I was talking about last game. When you're sieging high ground, you really want to be in a... Okay.
Here's the Eclipse. That Rubik's having a good day, and Slardar, on the other hand, is not. The PA went in too little too late. No damage will be dealt. Assassinate comes out, leaving. Oh, not leaving. Ignite was on the Elder Titan. He just falls. I don't think UCI really wants to continue this. Yeah, they don't. Tinker is out of mana completely. He can't even teleport back home. He's just waiting it out.
He's got a soul ring in 4 seconds.
High ground defended.
But, yeah, high ground defended. Thanks in decent part to that stolen Eclipse. Very nice holding on to that from the Rubik. And also thanks in part to the Luna screwing up that Eclipse on the tier 2 for some reason.
If they still had that, I can't imagine that they would have taken it as slowly as they did. I think that would have been a far more aggressive engage by the Sand King with the Elder Titan's positioning, and they could have did some serious damage.
This is a very risky call. This is a very, very risky call here coming from UC. The Aegis is still available for the Luna, though not for very much longer. They're going to smoke up and just try to bait out the Slardar, looks like, but trying to take a fight right now. Yeah, it's risky.
Sand King actually going to duels up the PA. This feels a bit ballsy. Stomp will come out as well. I can't imagine they want to continue on this. Burrow Strike stolen. Brings up the Sand King. Actually, the Phantom Assassin is quite low. Mechanism is there. Sand King is assassinated in the back. Daggers aplenty now. Luna has arrived. Eclipse ready. Not even doing that much damage, to be honest. The Phantom Assassin is just in the worst possible position. She just dies there essentially for free. At the end of the day,
she needs to drop this Quelling Blade and pick up some TP. She's been without a TP for the bulk of it. At least the later portions where it really matters. You know, that's a couple of opportunities she's missed because and this Quelling Blade is not giving her really.
Aegis expended, but I mean, that fight in my mind could have been far worse for UCI. The Sand King's initiation was very rushed.
Yeah,
and
he didn't have the follow-up.
It really didn't. The fact that they got away with only losing him, I think, is a bit of a miracle.
But they did use a lot of the spells that they presumably could have used for this high ground siege. They used a lot more spells than they otherwise would have needed to if they had just been a little more patient. And the Luna already using Manta here means that she is vulnerable. And stun will miss from the Slardar. A little bit greedy there from him to try and get the amp damage out before the Slithering Crush. Slithering Crush is physical, so it will do a little bit more damage if the amp damage is there, but he wasn't really able to get himself in a position for the stun, so his team couldn't follow up.
This
Still
tanker
high ground defended.
Yeah, this tanker is having a pretty big impact, and he's slowly, and I mean slowly, climbing this net worth. He was behind the Phantom Assassin and Sniper.
The Sniper, I like his build. Going Dragonlance into Mjolnir. The Mjolnir is going to help deal with the Luna illusions that have been a bit of an issue for them. And it also means that if they do end up losing out a lane to supers, the game is not over. They do have a solution to that. And I do think that if UCSC managed to close the gap over time, right, like they still are in a position where it's not impossible for them to come back. They have a lot of late game, but they definitely need to win 2 or 3 big fights and probably take the next Roche and not lose more than 1 lane of barracks. They can't have their supports getting picked off for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
Oh, he's supporting. He'll get away.
He will get out, but that is this part of the map conceded, and that ward actually just dies instantly.
There is a gem, unfortunately, for him
on the Elder Titan. That's right.
Yeah. But he didn't know that at the time, so at least now they know. They presumably picked that out.
75 gold for intel is usually worth it, so I can't imagine being too upset.
This is really smart from UCI, though, picking up the gem, choking out the map, doing everything they can to try and make it difficult for UCSC's late game to really come to fruition. And let's see if Proud has a TP. He does have a TP this time, and he almost has a BKB. In fact, he can buy his BKB up.
Has it now, and this is a pretty good time for it. I would imagine.
He's really good at tier 2. While they're down there, kind of hanging around.
Back up for it. That's interesting.
And they're backing up tier 2 with the Ogre, which means
food.
he's going to get this for free. This is a great trade. I mean, UCSC will give up an Ogre 1,000% of the time.
That was
for a tier 2.
That was a good attempt. 10 out of 10. But alas, he is dead. This Phantom Assassin is.
Why did he not TP home? This I don't understand. This was a really weird call. That's why you have the TP.
I'm also confused.
Yeah, that was a really good play until that PA did that. Tinker has 3 mangoes in his stash. I'm not entirely sure why. Anybody else seeing this?
Isn't there some like community event where you drop it off at Rosh's pit?
Maybe, I don't know.
In honor of No Dire Tide or something.
He traded out his Ags for mango and then traded it back. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there.
There's some
is he really trying to min-max mango for 1 HP regeneration in the fountain?
There's some like inside joke going on here almost surely.
Yeah.
What's not a joke is this damage. Luna is eviscerating these buildings. They're just gone.
Yeah, and this probably isn't the case if that PA is up, right? Like, at least that's a fight if the PA is up. It might be a losing fight, but at least they have a chance at defending. Without the PA, they honestly don't. So that's that 1 lane of barracks that they could maybe afford to give up. We're now looking at, that'll probably close in toward a 15,000 net worth advantage, going the way of UCI. That is about a 1/3 advantage over their opponents, so 133% of UCSC's farm. That's difficult to deal with.
That's absolutely brutal.
One lane of super is also going to slow down the rate of farm, and with the gem there's really not a lot of avenues for catching up.
Phantom Assassins. Yeah, just out here and all alone. Slarder's actually going to engage a great Yules from the Sand King will stop him in his tracks. BKB pop before he stomped out. Oh, stun on the Proud now. The Phantom Assassin's in a heap of trouble. BKBs, but too little, too late perhaps. And yes, Luna's here doing damage all over, just melted.
Yeah, that's your game right there.
And the backline, actually, the Elder Titan did fall, dropping the gem. It's now on the Rubik. They'll run as they can. A gem for 2.
No, because it's going to be Elena Rax, too.
Yeah,
50 seconds until the PA is up. And they didn't do anything to the Luna.
No buyback
she
on
still
her
has Eclipse as well.
This is absolutely not looking good for UC Santa Cruz here.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to go into a game 3. UCI, and I do think it comes down to that decision to fight before the Desolator came up, right? Like, that's pretty much this whole game swung open at that moment, and ever since then, UCSC's been trying to play catch-up. It's very rare, in my opinion, that you see one moment that's so obviously, like, almost inarguably, the key moment of a preventable error that really causes to go one way or the other. But yeah, that is a textbook case of just wait for your item, man. But of course, the game is not necessarily over because UCI, not willing to push into the base, not trying to force a buyback, will instead fall back to Roshan.
Not just yet.
So
it's
UCI are still potentially in this then.
I feel like this Roshan, though, can only do good for UCI, even if they just lose it instantly, like Luna dies instantly. They still have their full arsenal available. She's sitting at 3,000 health. This is a really tall task for UC Santa Cruz. That is Rosh falling.
I'm just going to try to blink in and deny. Luna did get it.
Goes on to Slardar, Stomp.
I don't know why they're still going in.
Slardar's, the rest of the team left him as fodder. Right decision, but why he was there beyond me.
At least he baited out an Eclipse, I guess. But yeah, that was not a very valuable. Best case scenario, absolute best case scenario, his opponents all disconnect and he kills one in trades. Like, that's not a huge game.
That's some
but
good
at
RNG.
least they did get the Eclipse.
The entire enemy team disconnecting. That would take a
Valve
Fennel levels of
fail. Yeah.
intervention. All 5 alive for UCI, no Slardar. Should be able to slowly push this one up as they want.
Yeah, and once again, there's not a lot here to stop them. At least, although this time, both PA and Sniper are available, right? So you have the Mjolnir to help take care of stuff, and the threat of the PA maybe to stop some of the other heroes from coming up onto the high ground. But this can just be slow, and once again, I'm not sure there's a lot that UCSC can do.
Great, though. Anytime Luna's been mansing up, the illusions just disappear. The Sniper has been able to deal with them within a second of them being spawned, so... As you mentioned earlier, that Mjolnir pickup is a very good pickup.
Yeah, if he managed to get it a little bit earlier, this would have been a much more competitive game. And once again, I mean, we're being a little pessimistic here because the odds are very low, but until they lose another set of racks in another fight, they're not out of this.
Tower's still standing. Yeah, Tower's still standing, but it's just going to take one more good push from UCI and this tower's gone, although...
It's just going to take a strong win, to be honest, at this point.
Yeah. Satanic was used to heal up. I imagine that's fine. They could wait. They could afford to wait a wave or two. I'm actually not even going to try it. Farm the map elsewhere.
Yeah. I'm not sure why they backed up there. They have the Aegis, they have every advantage. The longer they wait, the more likely it is. The longer they wait, the less as percentage their net worth advantage is. Granted, it is closing in on 20,000, but before it was about, what did we say? It was like 33 to 40% of the overall net worth. Now it is about 30%. So it is very slowly going down in terms of percentage, and UCSC are getting tools. They do have good late game, and if you're UCI, like there is a such thing as being too patient. And
Right.
I'm not just saying that because I'm a caster, not staying up till what looks to be, if this goes into a game 3, 2 or 3 a.m.
The difference between 500,000 net worth and 530,000 net worth is pretty much nothing.
Right.
Well, as this net worth lead grows, this Luna's discrepancy isn't going to be that meaningful. So UCI really needs to put the foot on the gas.
Luna only has 2 things that she can do to scale up. She can get a moon shard, and she can trade her power treads for teleports. And then she's there. So if they're not able to take a high ground right now, I'm not sure what they're expecting. Like Aegis, they even have Aegis, right? There's no advantage that they're really going to be. That will give them a better opportunity to push them now. Here we go.
Sniper's doing what he can, but he's just dead. Eclipse comes out. He has no buyback. He's kind of their one back into this game, and this Eclipse is just monstrous. False Promise is out. Luna doing as much damage as possible. Phantom Assassin has arrived. Actually might take down this Tinker before he gets out alive. Yes, will die. But in the end, that's a kill on the Ogre Magi. Phantom Assassin's just dead. Slargo doing what he can, but I'm inclined to believe that is it, and we are going to a game 3.
Yep. It took a lot longer than it probably should have, but at least they didn't botch the high ground.
Slow and steady.
Better to take a little bit too long than to get to the high ground and to just. Yeah, I have casted many a game where that lack of confidence moving on to the high ground cost the team a win.
At the end of the day, UCI's patience does pay off. As you mentioned, maybe taking a bit longer than it should have or could have. But the fact of the matter is, they took it to game 3.
Yeah, and we will be back with game 3 here very.
I'm curious on the snipers. We didn't dwell too much on the sniper outside of laning phase. After that, it was more about the PA, what she could do. And then just the Luna and the ever-looming presence. So, yeah, Sniper, against kind of both of our wishes into the Tinker, not paying off this game.
I mean, Sniper by far did the most damage on his team. He did almost as much damage as the rest of his team combined. And he did more damage than the Luna did, right? Like, the Sniper did a lot. He just wasn't. You needed more control over the situation, and they didn't have it because their supports were dying instantly, and they didn't have an answer to the Luna. Once she got the Manta style, her farming rate just picked up, and their ability to target her down dropped. And once again, you kill the Luna off a couple times before she gets that Manta style, you now have a net worth advantage that, even though she has the Manta style, she's not really able to stand up to you. That whole game goes differently.
Lots to consider in that game. That game was pretty interesting as it developed. 45 minutes. We had a lot to talk about, but alas,
honestly, I would say that game is a very good treatment for any, if you're a theory crafter, if you have a captain, or if you're a captain of a team in the CSL, this is a really good game for you to look, because once again, it's very rare for you to look at a game and see one big mistake and a handful of little mistakes really lead to such a one-sided end result. And how you avoid that is, or being able to avoid that sort of situation is often the difference between the team that makes playoffs and the team that makes finals.
Well, that will do it for us. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we will be right back with game number 3 between Hakuna Marana from UC Santa Cruz and UC Irvine. Be right back.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
Against the wall, it seems impossible, but there's nobody else I want by my side, standing with me to take this fight.